Hey guys, it's Brigitte with San Diego Seed Company, and today I want to take you on a tour of our urban farm and show you why we set it up the way we did, some things that I would do differently, some things that I love, and what you should consider when you're setting up your urban farm. But before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you can be notified anytime we put a video out. Let's get started. All right, so this is our urban farm, and we're very proud of it. We've worked so hard. We've been here for about 5 years. We have our #1 helper here, Mr. Nepali Bear, and we have seen this place get transformed from a desolate lot that literally had tumbleweeds on it when we moved in. There was no water, no plants. It was a pretty sad sight. 5 years later, with a lot of mulch, a lot of compost, and a lot of love, we've made it into a thriving ecosystem. So what are some of the things that I think are essential if you want to start an urban farm? Well, if you're in Southern California or any semi-arid area, you gotta have irrigation. We just don't get enough rainfall from the sky to support this type of plant growth. So I'll show you real quick our irrigation setup. I won't get into like crazy details because that's a whole nother thing, but we have our irrigation right here at the front of the garden. And I really like that we did that. The person who helped us set up our irrigation is a whiz and has years and years and years underneath his belt. And he explained to me, look, you wanna have your irrigation close so you can always troubleshoot it. You can check it to see like, are there leaks? Is anything going on? And I have my timer right here, which is not a super fancy timer. It's just an orbit. It's got 4 locations on it, and I can change it every single day if needed. You don't have to, but water is expensive here, and so I really take my time and check and see, okay, does the irrigation need to be running that much? So it's a simple system. We got 4 stations. I have them exposed above ground. That's also because we don't get hard freezes here, so I can. So those of you who are in other parts of the United States, this may not be a good setup for you. But for us, I want to be able to see, is the water leaking? Are we having any issues? Do I need to change any lines? Anything like that. So that's #1. We had our dear friend John Clemens come and help us set this up. And if we didn't have irrigation, we wouldn't have a farm. This is essential to all the plant growth. I can't possibly water by hand. And even if I did water by hand, it would be more expensive than using irrigation where I can water precisely where I need it. So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Okay, so now let's talk about the general layout. Why did I do the rows the way that I did? Why did I do in-ground versus beds? All of those things. So what you're seeing here is pretty close to row cropping in the sense that I have very straight rows. Why did I do it that way? Well, I did it because I wanted to maximize my space. I wanted to be able to have crops as close together as possible because we are only on 1 acre, and that includes the house and the parking and everything else. So we have less than 1 acre of actual planting ground. So when we moved in, soil was terrible. We've got some videos on those. You can see the before and after. And so what we did was we concentrated compost and organic matter into the planting rows, areas where we are actually gonna plant. And you can actually see from previous videos and photos that our rows used to be actually way further apart, but over time, we've brought them closer together because the soil has improved. So we have walkways, and then we have planting spaces. Our walkways are only about 9 inches wide. And that's because, again, I'm maximizing space. I want as much planting area as possible. Okay, so you can see I've got the rows lined up, and maybe you can't tell, but this is actually southern exposure. So that's another really key part when you're setting up your farm. You want to get full sun all the time. And if you're in an urban space, you might have to consider buildings. We've got this massive apartment complex next to us. Luckily, it does not shade the garden. We have nothing to the west of us, but we've got all southern exposure here. So we get full sun. It gets very warm out here, but that's what we need to grow really happy crops. They need full sun in the summer, full sun in the winter. So that's a big one. Let's talk about a little bit about where I placed my hose bibs and why I placed them where I did. So we got hose bib number 1 here. And this was another really great idea from, again, somebody very experienced. They've got knowledge. He told me, look, because originally I was trying to save on parts and irrigation piping, and I was only going to put 1 hose bib on the other side of the garden. And he's like, nope, you want one in the middle. And boy, was he right. Because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to pull a hose across a bunch of crops, and you pull them over your baby starts and you kill them, and you're just angry and you're hot because you're trying to water. So we have a hose bib right in the middle of the garden, which really makes a big difference. We also have this little, I don't know what you want to call it. This is kind of a junk spot where we toss tools and things right in the middle of the garden. It's basically just an offloading zone, and I know if I need my clippers, they're probably here. I don't always put them back. So some people are more organized than me, but you know. So tools and water right in the middle. It saves me so many steps not having to walk all the way back there, not having to pull the hose. So when you're designing your urban farm or your garden, think about that. Think about where you want your tools and where you want your water. So now let's talk a little bit about like some aesthetic stuff. So I've got this gorgeous wall here of plants, and when we moved in, there was nothing. We decided to do that for a little bit of privacy. We're in a super urban area. We have apartment complex here, and then we have nothing on that side and houses over here that just really can see everything that we're doing, which doesn't really matter, but you know, I'm doing all this hard work so I can have a beautiful space, and so we wanted a little bit of greenery. It also helps when the sun gets really low in the sky to keep this a little bit cooler in the summertime. So I got my hammock, which does not look like I've been using it very much, which I haven't, been too busy. But I've got really nice plants here that do well, don't take a lot of water in Southern California, really heavy growers. I have a southern jasmine. I have another vine. This is called Plectranthus, which grows obviously like a weed. It's awesome. Some people say it smells like Fruit Loops. I don't really think that's true, but I've got Morning Glory, which is another super aggressive grower. There is very little to no irrigation back here. It's really just growing on what water that it's getting from the irrigation we have on the fruiting plants. Okay, so over here we have grapes, and I put them here specifically because they get cut back and they go dormant. And if you were standing with me here, you would know that this is about southwest facing. As the sun in the wintertime gets lower in the horizon and further south, this actually loses all of its leaves, so we get a lot of needed sunlight through here. So I put these very specifically here so that in the summertime they fill out, don't see the neighbors. Wintertime they defoliate and I get a little more sun. Got tons of easy growing plants here on the perimeter. You know, areas that I'm not cultivating heavily, I want plants that grow really easily. Insects love them. I can use them as cut flowers. So these are our sages. They look great. Everybody's space is different, and I'm not giving you an exact model of what you should do. But what I do want you to understand is think ahead. Think about your sun exposure. Think about where the sun's going to be in the summer, where it's going to be in the winter. You know, your walkways, how are you going to get a wheelbarrow through, how are you going to water it, and where are your tools going to be? All of those are really important if you want to have a successful, thriving urban farmer garden. Okay, so let's answer a really big question. In-ground planting or raised beds? Which one do you choose? It's a very deep subject that we could get into, and I'm just going to tell you why I chose what I chose. So for me to put raised beds on all of this area, it would be really expensive. And when we moved in, we barely could afford this place, let alone any extra, you know, projects and things like that. The other thing I don't like about raised beds is just the space that you lose. I just really like in-ground beds that I can actually, you know, get in with the shovel. I'm not stepping over anything. So that's my preference. That's a personal preference. Now, I will say that it did take us 3 good years of working the soil to get it to the point where it is good enough that it can really make plants thrive. And that took a lot of back-breaking work. Now, for us, totally worth it. So you have to make your decision on whether or not you want to spend the money on beds, whether they're birdies boxes, or whether they're or whether they're beds that you build with lumber. Just make sure it's untreated lumber. There's lots of different ways to do it, and you have to decide what makes most sense for your wallet, your back, and your space. Okay, so we're at the other side of the garden here, and as I pointed out, I've got irrigation at the front, I've got a hose bib in the middle, and then bam, I have another hose bib, okay? And as you can tell, I really need 4 of them, but I'm making 4 out of this one. So don't really recommend, doing it like this. Again, I should have listened to my friend who said you're gonna need more hose bibs than you think, and boy, was he totally right. We're making it work right now, but eventually I'm actually gonna install another hose bib on that side and this side of the garden so that I have water access everywhere that I need it. So I've got a nice path going down the middle here, and it kind of bisects the garden a little bit. This is nice so we can get equipment in and out. We can wheelbarrows, things like that. It was a lot more narrow, and we've made it wider. And in fact, I might make it a little bit wider so that we can get our gorilla cart through. So now's a good time to stop and think about, how are you gonna get soil and mulch and compost and other tools and things in and out of your garden? I know it's exciting when you're looking at your garden layout or your urban farm layout and you're trying to maximize space, and you really don't want to waste it on like a wide walkway, but you're gonna need it. No matter if you do in-ground plantings or raised beds, you're gonna have to bring product in, and you don't want to do it bag by bag, hurting your back. You want to be able to get a wheelbarrow in, things like that. So make that consideration when you're planning your garden. So another thing that I'll point out is on our farm, my husband and I, we're always arguing about who left the shovel where. I think it happens on every farm, but I would suggest having a designated place where you put your tools. We've got this adorable yet very messy kind of tool area here. Luckily, because we live in Southern California, I don't have to build like a shed to keep them in. I could, and they'd probably be a whole lot nicer, but all the tools we have are hand-me-down anyways, so I use them until they break, and then I usually turn them into artwork. So they're outside, but they're in clear view, which I really like. They're not in a shed where I have to go in and rummage around to try to find them. When Roger and I are arguing about where the shovel was left, we usually can find it pretty quickly. Okay, so let's talk about farm animals a little bit. It's really easy to start a garden and then want chickens. Why not? They're a great addition. When we first moved in, we actually had our chicken coop right here in this little area, and we did that because we had the space, it was close, it was easy, and they actually started tilling things up and fertilizing things for us in the beginning before we had the time or the energy to get to the side. Then eventually, as our garden grew and we needed this space, we actually moved them to the back, which I really recommend for lots of different reasons. One of them is, this is how loud they are, which is not a big deal for us. We love that sound, and it's actually a lot better than the freeway noise that we hear and the airplane noise that we hear and all of the other noises we hear in an urban space. But it is better that they're a little further back. The other thing with chickens is naturally you're gonna have some flies. Having them a little bit further away from the house is a little bit better. And we also have the chickens now right next to the compost. And this is key because everything that the chickens produce, all of their bedding and everything like that goes straight into the compost, and I'm not having to move it as far, which is a really big benefit. So when you're building your garden or your urban farm, it's really easy to get super excited and want this big, huge thing right off the bat. And then you start feeling, kind of anxious or upset when it doesn't happen right away. This took 5 years for us to get it to this point, and we still have a lot of work left to do. So what I suggest is that you start closest to your home or closest to the access area of your garden and start working your way out. We're on the edge of our property now, and this is a lot less developed area. We still have major weed issues. We got to build the soil more. There's tons of things that we have to do, and over time we'll keep working it and we'll keep expanding. Oh my God, I'm looking at all these weeds. I haven't been back here. This is crazy. Okay, so we expanded back here and this still needs to be developed a lot. We got weeds, we got all kinds of issues that I've gotta keep working on. Soil's not great. And then we have our last little section here. This just got developed this summer. So this area down here probably hasn't been planted in a good 30 years, and it looks terrible now, but it's actually for seed production, so don't worry. This is that was not a failed experiment. We're gonna let that corn dry on the cob, and then we will actually shuck it off, and then we have corn seed. But we still have a lot of issues and things that we have to work down there. Little by little, you'll get there. It's the journey that matters. I actually had a conversation with somebody today on Instagram. You know, they really want their garden to be perfect right away, but then you miss the whole point. It's to be in your garden every day and enjoy what you're doing and see the progress. If you were there overnight, it wouldn't be that fun. So take your time. I promise it's worth it. Okay guys, so garden planning or urban farming planning, it's not an exact science. It is an art form. However, there are some techniques that you can learn that I really encourage you to apply. I encourage you to apply when you're planning your garden, things like irrigation, walkways, you know, get the basis down. Everything else will fall in.
Basics. You said basics.
Oh, oops, sorry, thank you.
Let's just start this section.
Yeah, I fucked that up like 5 times.
And walk, and then talk.
Okay guys, so when you're planning your garden, remember it is not an exact science, it's an art form. And as long as you have some of the basics down, you know, where are you getting your water, your compost, where are you gonna put your tools, everything else will fall into place. Don't stress about it. It's meant to be a beautiful thing that you get to enjoy. It's meant to be something that puts you closer to nature and makes you understand our place on earth a little bit better. And so take every single day as a stepping stone to getting to where you wanna be and enjoy it. That's why we're out here gardening.